It is April the 7th, I believe, 2026. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. Had to use the bathroom, and because I woke up and did that, for some reason I couldn't go back to sleep. Something probably to do with my hormones and this time of the month that just really messes me up. But I got on here to talk about how the situation when I am going through this, what I call a period, not period, my most emotional low time of the month, how for whatever reason negativity comes into my life, and it's via people that I'm blood related to, because random people couldn't bring me anything, because it wouldn't mean nothing. You know, the things that they could do or say, it wouldn't mean anything. But yesterday morning, as soon as I got to work, my sister called. And the phone was ringing out loud because I had my headphones in my ear. Those earpieces in my ear. But I just let it ring. But my first thought when I saw her name appear was I was surprised that she was able to call me, because I thought I had all of them blocked. Her, my mother, and my brother. I thought I had all of them blocked. And obviously I didn't. And then once I got through that feeling of, I thought I had her blocked, then I was thinking, maybe my mom had passed away and that was the reason why she was calling. But I still, did not answer the call. I didn't want to talk to her. She's not a nice person, you know what I mean? And if my mother passed away, leave a message. That's what I was thinking to myself. So about a half an hour after she called, I decided to check the voicemail. Because once the phone stopped ringing, I kind of forgot about it. And iPhones are designed now that, it'll stop ringing and somebody can be on there leaving a voice message and you can pick it up. And so I didn't, I just was like, okay, I'll check the message later if she leaves one. And so, of course, she left one. She left a message cursing me out, calling me all kind of bitches and hoes, and threatening what she was gonna do to me if I give her number to somebody else. Now let me give you the context of why I gave her number to somebody else. I was the person that was helping my mother out, because she don't like the internet and everything is going to a digital form, and I had found her somebody to cut her grass, which I thought was odd. Every time she needed something, I had to find somebody. It's like, you've been in this house 40-some years and you don't have regular people that you deal with on a regular basis that do things for you that need to be done. That just was strange to me, that by itself. At any rate, I had found her a little guy that was coming and cutting the grass. Now, he wasn't doing an excellent job, but he was cutting the grass. And long as the grass was cut, she didn't really care. She didn't have no qualms on whether or not he was cutting it good or not. She just wanted it cut. And so last year at the end of the season, my mother went out of town to live with my brother in like early September. And the guy comes every 2 weeks to cut the grass. And so the first time he reached out to me and said that, Because what he would do is go cut the grass and then text me and say I'm all done with the yard, and then I would cash app him the money that's due to him. Sometimes I added a tip, sometimes I did. Sometimes it was my money, and sometimes I made my mother reimburse me the money, but I had access to her money so I could get reimbursed if I needed to. And so he did it at the end of the season 3 times. Now, so he went every other week for 3 more times after she left, and I paid for the guy to cut the grass. The crazy thing was, when she first left, my sister was saying that she would pay one time and I would pay one time. Well, she never would pay because she had to be there to pay him, because she's just as illiterate about the internet as my mother is. And she's not going to be there because she wasn't living there. At any rate, I leave him a text message after he said that he was done with the yard on October the 12th, and said that he would be back in 2 weeks to check and see if it needed to be done one more time. When he left that message, I said to him, I text him, don't cut the grass anymore. My mother's gone out of town. I ain't got access to her money, so these last 3 times that the yard was cut, I just was paying out of my pocket. But I really didn't have no other choice, because the man was accustomed to coming and cutting the yard and then reaching out to me after cutting the yard and saying the yard was done. So I paid him. But the last time he cut the grass, I had sent that message and he cut the grass anyway, and so I paid him anyway. But then I told him we wouldn't need any more services for this year because my mother was moved out of town. And so I guess he must have forgot that we had that conversation. And so he calls me about a week and a half ago, hey, how you doing? I just was seeing how your mom. And I told him she out of town. Oh, okay, well, we about to get started up in a couple of weeks. And so I said, listen, my mother's out of town. I said, but my sister is living in the house now. I say, so, if she want to get it done, then she can get it done. So then he said, well, tell her to reach out to me. I said, I'll do you one better. I'll give you her phone number and you can reach out to her. Because he's under the assumption that I have a relationship with this crazy bitch, and I don't. And so I give him her number. And I guess he must have just called her Saturday, Sunday, or maybe he called her yesterday morning before she called me. At any rate, he called her. And so she called to curse me out about giving out her phone number. And I just I'm listening to the voicemail thinking to myself, this bitch is honestly crazy. Because if you didn't want me to give out your number, that's just you could have just said that. Don't give out my number. And be done with it. But no, you got to go into, I don't fuck with you. You don't exist in my world. You ugly. You fat. You a bad mama. Just all the nasty, negative things that she can say about me on this voicemail. Because she mean and hateful and evil. And I was doing pretty good mentally and emotionally prior to that happening. Now I was slumping a little bit because last week I thought, man, I might have beat this shit. That it wasn't going to come back and affect me like it normally do. And so this week is getting a little rougher. Although I still feel fairly okay, I still have the emotions, the emotional roller coaster that I'm on when I'm on this period, not period. And the emotional roller coaster is not one that goes high during this time. It goes low, and then it goes lower. So this emotional roller coaster is hard to ride, and I didn't need that yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, I do not understand her hatred for me. I've never done anything. I ain't even never said nothing negative to her, because I don't want to have no dealings with her. I believe that she the type of person that will actually try to kill me, because she got a gun and she dying to shoot somebody. So her hate for me is that strong that I believe that she would kill me, which is ironic considering the fact that sometimes I want to die. She'll just probably fuck with her and make her motherfucking ass shoot me and kill two birds with one stone, so she can go to prison for the rest of her life and I can die. But that's a whole nother story, and I won't go off into that. But I'm like, what is wrong with this lady that she just like, why she hate me so much? Like, if I had to be honest, she probably has had a better existence than I had, being a crackhead and all. You know what I mean? And when I say better, existence, she's always attracted men because she's nasty and she'll do anything sexually, I'm sure. My brother said she tried to have sex with him over some crack. She wanted some crack so bad she was willing to fuck her own motherfucking brother. Now that I can't forget. You know what I mean? But she got a bunch of grandkids, and she been married to my brother-in-law for a long time. Although they not really together, they have enough wherewithal that divorce isn't the answer, and so they just stay married. So she's the one of the three of us as women in this family that has been able to, quote unquote, keep a man. She got a ton of grandkids. I know some of them got some issues with her because of who she is, because she crazy, for real. And I'm not saying that like, ha ha, he, she crazy. No, she's actually, for real, stuck down crazy. And, but, she got friends. She had a twin her whole life, so she's always had somebody, and she treated her like shit a lot too. You know what I mean? Like, she was the evil twin in the twin situation. And her other twin, she would talk about her so bad and talk about her children, because her children were dark. And this twin that I'm talking about that's being nasty and evil, Vicky is her motherfucking name. Vicky Davis, or Denia Davis. She would be mean to her own motherfucking twin and because my other sister who passed away, her twin, her son was dealing with some type of retardation. I don't know what it was exactly with all this stuff now. You on the spectrum. Maybe he was autistic. I don't know. Either way, she would talk about that and call him ugly and retarded. And her oldest daughter, who is, my other sister, her oldest, she only has a daughter and a son, but she's older than the son, and she real dark skinned. But I've always thought she was very pretty, just simply because of her dark skin. This family, definitely the family I was born into, are colorists, and they prefer light skin over dark skin. And I prefer dark skin over light skin. But my sister, who is nasty and evil, had 2 light-skinned kids, and she really believed because of the light skin, that makes them better than people. Or prettier. She definitely, I don't know about the better part of it, but she definitely think they prettier. And so she would dog out my other sister's daughter because she was dark-skinned. Like, how can you be that evil and just mean and ornery, I don't know. I got a video of her, a video recording that my son took of her dogging me out so bad, like when she first came back to St. Louis, and her youngest daughter was trying her best to say that we needed to have a relationship and we needed to be cool because she wanted to have a relationship with me. And I just was like, I can't, it's hard for me to have a relationship with somebody who one day is cool and the next day they want to call you a bitch, like, and then come back again and just totally forget that they called you a bitch and then want to be like, no, you can't come in and out of my life like that. But I'm really kind of just upset about her because she's affecting my day to day. And this happened yesterday. And this is crazy that I'm attached to so much motherfucking craziness in my life when literally all I ever wanted was love. And these motherfuckers the life I was born into, from the time I can remember understanding English, they told me they found me in a trash can because nobody wanted me. That's some evil, crazy, nasty ass shit to say to a baby they whole life too. Like, oh, I gotta go into work.